Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe21Love. To best describe AEW All. Well, if you're a fan of wrestling as a whole, this was a historic event, a historic day in pro wrestling history. If you're not, and you're a fan of one side, whether it's AEW, WWE, and you're just divided, like, unfortunately, how many pro wrestling fans are, then this was suspect, depending on what side of the coin you fall on. But as a pro wrestling fan who's been watching pro wrestling since the end of the Monday Night Wars to now, been covering AEW for a few years now. This was something. As Tony Khan announced in the post-show media scrum, for 20 some odd years, when WCW was bought out, there was that period of 2001 to 2019 where it was just mostly WWE was right here and everything else was in this region. TNA, for a good amount, credits still together. For a while, I enjoyed it really remotely as its number 2, but it didn't really feel like a real alternate. AEW felt like an alternate, and 5 years almost to the day of the initial All-In being 10,000 seats to now over 8,000 plus sick tickets sold. And Nigel McGuinness announced 81,035 fans in attendance. Now, whether you agree with that or not, reality is based on ticket sold sales. AEW beats WrestleMania 32, which we know how WWE overbloats or hyperboles their attendance records, but if you go based on what we've heard, this, now take it with a grain of salt, but based on this is the largest attendance for pro wrestling events ever. So, I mean, credit to AEW, but whether you believe it or not, just watching the whole pay-per-view just felt jarring and just felt almost like a wave, because usually just see AEW or WWE do those types of shows with that amount of fans in that ballpark. And for AEW, and the fact that WWE has not been in Wembley since when? SummerSlam 92? And yet, AEW came to All In and filled that stadium. Seeing that for that talent felt special. Especially because, and look, I'm a WWE fan. I've enjoyed seeing what they've done for the last 20 years. But at the same time, as a wrestling fan, I know they've hit a wall for a while. I mean, they did have some good periods, but they've hit a wall for a while. And it's good to see, some AEW do this refresher. And, when I saw that Swerve Strickland's entrance, when I saw, Will Ospreay make his entrance, I mean, Sting makes it, Adam Cole in the main event, which they did very well. Adam Cole and MJF in the main event, they did very well. The receptions they got, just very good. Now, despite, well, actually, first, another thing is there was a particular star in attendance, Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, formerly Sasha Banks of WWE. She was in attendance, and she was shown quite a bit during the pay-per-view. And, Saraya, the new AEW Women's World Champion, which I'll get into in a sec, she mentioned how they have history, unfinished business, and how she can't wait for her to finally sign with AEW. I mean, how long have we waited for, especially with the reports like a month ago of like bad things with the booking of the women and stuff in the women's locker room. And a real boost to AEW and their women's division would be Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, because she is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. And, Tony Khan said on the media scrum, and that was just, he said she's not cleared yet, but something's probably brewing. Probably. But yeah. CM Punk. I feel if I didn't mention it, I would be I wouldn't be doing it justice. But CM Punk, partly in the news. So there was a report like a week and a half ago or so that CM Punk and Jack Perry got in a bit of scuffle over broken glass, used glass, or something. And on the pre-show, it was Jack Perry for his hook, or $0. And there was a spot where Jack Perry, he arrived in a limo, and he landed on the hood, or the windshield, and he gestured towards the cameraman saying, "Real glass, go cry me a river." And there was a report that, CM Punk and Jack Perry reportedly got in another scuffle during the show. And it was broken up. Now, how much real significance? I mean, at least we don't know, because Miro did tweet in response to a rumor saying it was fake and false. So, curious what really happened. On the flip side, CM Punk was not a part of the post-show media scrum, which was a plus, because the worrisome about another brawl-out incident, that's the thing. But, yeah. Nonetheless, it's a dark cloud. And, look, if it's true, then, again, the CM Punk drama, look, I like the match with Joe. The entrances between Joe and Punk worked very well. Match could have been better, but last was good. Aside from that, the drama with Punk, it's annoying. It is virtually annoying. I mean, it was a headache last week or last year all out. And with the Hangman call out, I mean, it's more drama for AEW. We definitely do not need. I think we can agree on that. But yeah. And then next up. So from that, would like to say congratulations to Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho had a... Look, I think when everyone heard the announcement of Jericho versus Ospreay, that it was going to deliver, be a good match, obviously the story, the build throughout this whole pay-per-view felt rushed besides a few matches. And, people were going on about how this felt a bit underwhelming, including me a bit, that Ospreay and match with Jericho in 2023 would not be on par with what would be an Ospreay match in 2023 in And yes, it was a bit slow in parts, but Jericho absolutely delivered with Ospreay on course. I mean, he never really felt quite out of sync. I mean, they did slow down a bit, but Jericho held his own, and credit to not only Ospreay but to Jericho. I mean, that was a very fun match. Um, Along with the tag team title match and the main event, I'd say those were my three favorite matches of the night. Honestly. So yeah, that, and my apologies to Jericho for that. But yeah, great match there. Now, two controversial title changes were made on the show, I will say. Now, a couple pieces may play into part in both these, considering we got not only All Out in a week, but Grand Slam in a couple weeks. And Tony Khan announced at Mia's Room on October 1st in honor of the 1-year anniversary of Antonio Inoki's death. Wrestle Freedom will take place for AEW. And I imagine, it's might be a Forbidden Door Part 2, the way it seems. I don't know. But, Warner's Brothers asked for more pay-per-views, but sadly this feels like it's kind of rushing. With All Out next week, Wrestle Freedom, and then for Full Gear in November. And then we got all that layoff, we assume, till Revolution. But we'll see. But as I mentioned, so Saraya is the new AEW Women's Champion. Now, it's in her own country, from UK, good moment for Saraya. Obviously, she came out to not Emi Sakura, but Saraya came out to Queen's We Will Rock You, which I have to admit was a fun entrance, but nonetheless, Shida, and they announced it during Tony Storm's also good entrance. They announced that Shida just won the title less than a month ago, and she's losing here. Now, Saraya mentioned at the media scrum they have history, and that, they're friends with Mercedes, so that may play into part for Mercedes signing. But at the same time, so I get for that. But at the same time, I mean, weeks ago, talked about, well, there was that meant about AEW women's wrestling or women's wrestling in general has to do better. And Shida losing the title, they built it up as she was the pandemic champion and that she didn't really have a reign in front of fans. She wins it, and less than a month later, she's dropping it at Wembley. So, again, maybe this is a cheap way to get a rematch at All Out, but then again, you have a TBS title match declared for next week. So, it's a dicey situation. Pretty dicey. But I guess we'll see what they do going forward. I mean, it's as good as All In was, you have to nitpick some things. Although I could see it, it doesn't mean it's the best decision. So, we'll see. But if it's a way to attract Mercedes, coming in AEW, then I guess it's okay. But and then the Acclaimed beat the House of Black, who, by the way, had a great entrance, in honor of Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, who obviously, unfortunately, passed away on Friday. So it doesn't feel real, honestly, but Bray and Terry Funk's influence very much was felt throughout the event. That we can appreciate in honor of them. But, so yeah, House of Black had a great entrance with the lantern. The Fireflies were out. But they lost the titles to, of all people, the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. Now, again, All Out is next week. Grand Slam is in a couple weeks. So, it feels like a rush the next month because now all of a sudden you have All Out next week, Grand Slam in a couple weeks, Wrestle Freedom next month, but it's probably just their interim way to provide matches for next month. But yeah, because Dallas Black were having a decent reign with titles. I mean, weren't really being used that much. They won from the Elite at Revolution, which was a fun match, and then they were used a bit, but the trios division wasn't really showcased much. And now it's like, what's next? Well, especially because the Acclaimed could be used for tag division more so. And Billy Gunn doesn't need to be winning titles at his age. So maybe this is a short token reign. I don't know. The best friends, Orange Cassidy, they come for the belts. I don't know. But those two title changes, I mean, maybe they were for moments, but yeah. They feel fishy, certainly to say. But nonetheless, aside from that, aside from the CM Punk Chloe drama, aside from the questionable, title changes, I thought overall the show was very good. You know, aesthetically, you know, for not taking the build, which was really none, the show delivered. Aesthetically with the stage did well. The viewing with I'll be honest, the aesthetic kind of reminded me of WrestleMania 36, 37. It was right after the pandemic when they were allowed to have fans again for Raymond James Stadium. Kind of felt like that, but larger. And it was just fun. Again, I was just in awe watching because you haven't seen that many fans for an AEW show before. And then you see them there and it's like just awe, but and it felt like it added to the felt like goosebumps almost, but it was fun. But yeah, get to the show in a sec, but before we get into or the pay-per-view, thank you guys for joining me. If you guys are new, and click the subscribe button in the corner. How about on all the videos and channels? I just uploaded my Collision review not that long ago. Wanted to get that out before All In. And then obviously Dynamite for Thursday. And then gave a little video giving my thoughts on passing of Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk the other day, or Friday. So you can catch those on as well. As well as if you like the video, be sure to click that like button. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's chime in on Forbidden or All In, shall we? So, first off, 0 hour. So, I have to go back and watch it, but so I see that first of all, I think we were all kind of expecting something different or Swerve and the MJF, or at least one of them, MJF and Cole matches. Not really much happened besides in the ending, which Maybe they're going for a double turn. Maybe. But in the MJF main event with Adam Cole, Roddy showed up, hit a low blow on MJF, and gave him the title to attack MJF, but he didn't do it. I mean, he accepted to follow up on the low blow, but that was it. Now, does this escalate a rematch? Because again, you have a bunch of events coming up in the next month. And see, it's tricky because you still got the big war of 2024 looming, per se. And I don't want MJF to lose the title till 2024, but at the same time, if it's Adam Cole, then winning the title by stabbing his best friend in the back right before 2024, that would be a unexpected swerve. So, and win the title, I don't know. But, yeah, so, and now that they're ring tag team champions, that plays another wrinkle into this part of things. So we'll see. But MJF beat and MJF and Adam Cole beat Aussie Open and are the new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Yes, MJF hit a kangaroo kick. So everyone in the crowd that wanted a kangaroo kick, they got it. Hook beat Jack Perry to win back the FTW Championship. Now, question is, what's next? Does Hook give the title back to Taz's father and then they retire it? I don't know, but I feel like they don't need that title, really. So we'll see on that. We got a bit of a contract signing between Hobbs and Miro. And next week's All Out. So we got that. That was pretty cool. Now, at least it was on the pre-show. But weeks ago, there was rumors, obviously, of Grado versus Jeff Jarrett. And Grado showed up on the pre-show. And it was a bit of a scuffle, at least it was on 0 Hour. At least it was on the pre-show. But, yeah. 0 Hour was manageable, I guess. And especially with the Sun. The aesthetics with the Sun and Wembley, that was good. So, to the main card, started with CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. I mean, no matter what, I don't think CM Punk, when he left WWE and then joined part of AEW, that this would be happening so quick after. And then Samoa Joe, great to see, especially since last time he was around a crowd nearly this big. He was unfortunately stuck in the rain and he got fired by WWE. So, great to see for both of them. But this was a decent match here. You know, obviously with Punk not being able to face Omega, this was their next best thing. And it was decent. I think in a way it flowed better than their match on Collision a few weeks ago. So yeah, but this one, yeah, so they were fighting on the outside, back in the ring. Punk went for his usual went for his plancha, but Joe with his great walk away motion, and yeah, hilarious. So that was one. He had a boot to Punk on the outside, and I'm guessing that's how Punk got busted open. Because next thing you know, he has Crimson Rat Mask back in the ring. Joe then hit a boot with a running senton for a near fall. Punk, in honor of Terry Funk, went for a spinning toe hold on Joe. Joe countered for a near fall. And they were fighting and went to the top. And Punk hit a Pepsi plunge to Joe for the win. Now, for those who obviously saw Punk's attack on Joe, a couple weeks ago, or I think it was last week, for the match for Wembley. Punk hit Joe with an awkward looking GTS, which obviously garnered some criticism. And nonetheless, we got a Pepsi plunge here. Felt like it could have gone a bit longer, maybe 5 more minutes, but nonetheless, it was fun. And Punk got the win and left. So, there we go. Next up, Trios match. We had Bullet Club Gold, Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Konosuke Takeshita versus, I'd say, the Golden Lovers and Hangman and Page, which Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, who looked a lot better than he did for Blood and Guts. Looked more shredded, more jacked. He still looked a bit rusty, I would say, but he looked in much better shape this go around, which you can appreciate. Yeah, Hangman, that was good reaction for all three of them. So, had some shots back and forth. Some stiff shots were thrown between Ibushi and Jay White. So, Juice hit a senton in the ring for a near fall. The Guns interfered with Kenny Omega and Ibushi on the outside. Hangman got the big tag. He was running roughshod. He had plancha on Juice on the outside. Then the Suicida J, which his foot got tied up with the ropes, but did what they could with it. Luckily, Hangman was okay. But yeah, the top rope lariat for their fall. Ibushi was in. And another one is martial arts kicks. Now moonsault for a 2. Then a spot. Which didn't look so smooth. So this one, the pace was picking up. And both Kenny and Ibushi went for moonsaults onto their adversaries on the outside. Kenny had no problem. He went over the top, hit a moonsault to the outside. Ibushi looked like he slipped. So he had to take an extra second or two and then hit a moonsault on JY onto the outside. Excuse me. So back in the ring, Ibushi a German suplex for a near fall. Change of White, he had big Uranagi, and then Omega and Konosuke were the legal men. Konosuke hits arguably the best Blue Thunder Bomb in the business on Omega for near fall. Omega fired back, he had Poison Rana. Hangman then, he and Omega did very well in this match. Hangman hit moonsault slam off top on Konosuke for 2. Then Konosuke got the advantage. He had a big knee. And then Omega tried to focus on Konosuke, but Juice and JY were involved. So then he went for V triggers on both of them. But behind his back, Konosuke rolled up Omega, seemingly out of nowhere, for the pin and the win. And Takeshita and Bullet Club Gold get the victory. Sneaky, but got the win. So there you go. Um, Great to see Omega, Ibushi back. Now, I imagine Tony Khan confirmed it next week at All Out. In Chicago, will be Konosuke versus Omega 1-on-1. So there you go. As for the others, I don't know, but we'll see. Obviously, Bullet Club Gold may be the hottest thing on Collision, so we'll see. Next up, when the match announcement was made, I was like, what? I felt disappointed just because I thought with the magnitude in this match, I didn't expect this match to be going on so soon. But Young Bucks FTR Part 3. This was a mess. This was fun. I love that they play the part in both finishes of their previous matches into this. And yeah, this one, Young Bucks won the first battle, Full Gear 2020. FTR won the second battle, 2021, on Dynamite. Or last year on Dynamite. Nonetheless, and then who would win the third fall? The trilogy. I saw it going both ways. But in turn, FTR got the win in stellar fashion. So yeah, this was a mess as you expect. So splash by Nick on the outside. Bucks assist is sent on for a near fall. So Nick was going off the top. Cash come with a big uppercut. Dax hit a rebound powerbomb. Matt followed up with a crucifix pin for a near fall. And this is a decent spot. So one member of FTR had a sharpshooter in the middle of the ring. The other had a sharpshooter on the apron. So, interesting spots there. So, there you go. So, next up. So, they went for the sheriff machine, but Matt countered, but Dax countered the counter and rolled up Matt for a near fall. Nick then got backslide for a near fall. Then they hit a spike pile driver for a 2 count. And then, so going back to the second match, how it ended. So, it was an FTR trigger, basically the kiss of deaths, and then the shower machine for the win. What they got here, so FTR hit the FTR trigger, and the kisses of death, followed with a shower machine, only for a near fall. After this, I was like, okay, I think maybe the Bucks got this. Could win this. So, back to the first match. It was a miss 450 by Cash, and then a super kick by Matt for the win. So, Cash went for 450, missed it, super kick by Matt, only got a 2. Yeah. How they won the titles in the first place, yeah. Different. So the Bucks then hit a BT trigger for a near fall. Then they hit another, which then I thought that was it, but nope. Only for 2. So, finish the match was different or unique. So, Bucks went for the Meltzer driver. Dax got in front of Nick, and Cash countered. Matt threw him out of the ring, and then they caught Nick in midair for the shower machine, and Matt was this close from breaking it up. And FTR got the victory in the rubber match. Great stuff. It was a fun match. I mean, I was surprised how I really thought I was going to the end of the show. But either way, I'm glad. Young Bucks got a nice entrance. FTR got a good pop. Yeah. Then we go to Stadium Stampede. Now, basically, the only reason they called this Stadium Stampede this more like Double or Nothing, the only 2 reasons were A, the announcement of Stadium Stampede mode in AEW Fight Forever, and then B, because they were in the stadium. I mean, if I had to guess, Wembley Stadium, they went with Stadium Stampede. And for a minute, it looked like that, but with how big the stadium is, but nope, it was more anarchy in the arena. Still, it was wild, chaotic. I mean, do my best to give it justice. So, we got the Blackpool Comedy Club and Proud and Powerful versus the Best Friends, Eddie Kingston and Penta. Respect to Eddie Kingston. He came out wildin', wearing a Knicks jersey. He ran out and attacked Claudio right away. And that was a great scene. Them all fighting in the good size stage ramp area. That was good. Aisle. So yeah, it was melee. Ortiz brought in a trash can. Moxley brought a chair out of the audience. So, fight near ringside. Chuck hit Tope on Proud and Powerful. I mean, yeah, this is crazy. So, Moxley was cut around the eye. So, somewhere in the ring, Penta went wild with a chair. Moxley, oh, brutal, careless Moxley. He brought in some skewers. Larry wanted to poke him in the Penta's head. Penta countered. Just the visual of this. Now, it did look a bit ridiculous and silly, but at the same time, it made you cringe. And it was like, geez. We didn't see that in AEW, certainly. Penta actually hit a maiden Penta for a near fall off that. Claudio and Kingston, they were flying to the stage. They fought near the upper deck. Willer Yuta got involved. Kingston got an umbrella. Moxley and Orange were exchanging. And Moxley got a fork. Jabbed at Orange's head a bit. Ortiz got a kendo stick. Bashed Orange and Trent in the back of it. Trent somehow got bleeding around the eye. Looked pretty sick. So they got some barbed wire boards. So Trent was thrown on one of the boards in the ring. So brutal stuff there. So then they started fighting near the stage area. And who better to come out than old faithful Sue. Trent's mom, Sue. Yeah, Trent's mom, Sue. White van, she showed up with some gifts and some weapons. Moxley actually kissed her. Ay. Funny stuff. So, Penta was taken out earlier in the match. He came out as Penta Oscuro with a hammer. Started going after Santana. There was a ladder set up in the entranceway near some tables. So Penta was probably going for a splash off the ladder to the table. They were exchanging on this ladder and some of the rungs broke. The ladder kind of broke, but Penta still insisted go for a sunset flip powerbomb to Trent or Santana, excuse me, through these tables. So there you go. Didn't really see much of him after that spot. So back in the ring, Chuck Taylor and Yuta were exchanging. Chuck hit the awful waffle, his finisher for a near fall. There was a good spot where Yuta used to be in the best friends. So there's that spot where they all hug, embrace, got to give people what they want. So they all hugged Yuta, and then they zoomed out and then beat down Yuta after. Second, make me a drink. Okay, there you go. Soda to keep me refreshed. Keep my energy going for this. So, yeah, they beat down Yuta after Orange somehow got busted open. Claudio hit the giant swing on Orange. So there were tables set up on the outside. Looked like it might have been a superplex. Ortiz and Trent were sent through these tables. So it was the last of them, pretty much. Kingston, from out of nowhere, tried down the aisle, similar to Anarchy in the arena last year. Tried down with bust open with a barbed wire chair. And started welling everybody in sight. So Kingston, he back fist on everyone in the ring. Kingston sent Moxley through this board in the corner. Orange Cassidy, who had he stuck some glass to his glove or wrist tape. And hit Claudio with a orange punch for the win. And there you go. Best friends, Kingston and Penta get the win. Now, they announced, well, first of all, Blackpool Comic Club, they lost Blood and Guts. Now they lose here. I'm a little skeptical about that, if I must say so. Now, what I will say, though, to be different, at least it wasn't Willer Yuta that took the pin this time because he's taken too many losses as of late for the BCC. But Claudio's still the Ring of Honor World Champion. I will say that's a little suspect. But they announced that Orange will face Penta next week at All Out for the international title. Does Moxley, does someone from the BCC get involved? That's the question. Then we go to, as I mentioned, one of the more controversial decision of the night. Arguably the most. Excuse me, the 4-way women's match for the AEW Women's Championship. Saraya versus Toni Storm versus Britt Baker versus the current champ, Hikaru Shida. Decent match. All ladies brung it as much as they could, and not this fine match. Again, obviously the build, and now the unknowing of who's going to win did provide a good benefactor in this match. Now, Toni Storm, she did mention Saraya a bunch and her allies, but it seems like the Outcasts may have disintegrated after this match. So, that was basically the big point of this match. So, Saraya, she came out with her family. She came out to We Will Rock You by Queen. So I made for a fun entrance. Storm came out in her new Marilyn Monroe-like gimmick, which has been fun. But yeah, so we got some early dissension between Saraya and Storm. Shida then was slammed on the apron. They were battling each other, Saraya and Toni. Ruby Soho, she came out and tried to talk some sense into Toni. She got socked in the face and then left. Well, she got her exercise. Or more exercise when it comes to that spot. So, I guess. But yeah, dissension within the Outcasts. So, Britt cross kick on Saraya. Toni followed up for pin for a near fall. Again, further dissension. So, Saraya locked in her Texas Cloverleaf underhook finisher or submission on Toni. And then while the hole was applied, Britt hit a curb stomp on Toni, only for a near fall. She had followed up a brainbuster and a katana for 2 knee strike. Britt, she locked in the lockjaw on Shida, and Shida countered for a pin, but only got a 2. And then fighting over the lockjaw, you wondered about Toni and Saraya. So, after a while, Toni came in to break things up. Saraya went under the ring, sprayed face paint in the eyes of Toni Storm, hit her nightcap, her big DT, behind Britt and Shida's back, and scored the victory, the pinfall, in front of her own home country. So, I mean, it was a good moment, for Saraya. After all those years, being hurt, possibly never wrestling again, it was a good moment for that. But at the same time, as far as the wrinkles in the women's division, Doesn't help really. Now with Mercedes in attendance, maybe this was really for her. Because again, they're friends, and yeah. I also kind of feel bad for, again, Jamie Hayter, because she was hurt. But yeah, otherwise, this might have been her moment with Britt. Who knows? But yeah, good for Saraya, and yeah. Coffin match up next. Tag team coffin match. This, I'd say, was good, but at the same time, it kind of felt with getting the same Stampede earlier, not to. Maybe if they had separated the matches, maybe it'd been different. I mean, it wasn't bad, but if I just had one or the other, um, yeah, same Stampede. Still, this was okay for what it was. I think this mainly tried to give people a break for Jericho Ospreay, but yeah. Yeah, this match felt like a. This and Trios match really felt like to come down periods of matches. I was I don't know, maybe switch them, but the places of the matches, but oh well. So we got Swerve and Christian Cage versus Darby and Sting. Swerve got a great entrance. Some guy was rapping him to the ring. I think the guy sings his music. Yeah, that was good. So, Christian, singing his entrance after being hurt again for those years and coming out to this crowd felt surreal a bit to me and for those wrestling fans who are fans of Christian who thought he might not be back wrestling again. But here he is, doing a damn good job. First, Darby and Sting, they had a little bit. They had Seek and Destroy. They came out to that. For this, jeez. Very good for Darby and Sting, yeah. Now, first of all, the coffin was a casket. So, really, this is more of a. I get it, same rules, but it looked more like a casket than a coffin for this match. So, Sting wanted to go throw Swerve into the, I'll say casket. In the casket, but Christian slammed the door and instead Swerve got slammed on the casket. There you go. There's a table set up and it looked like it was too far as Sting then hit a leg drop off the apron to Swerve through the table. So, not as crazy as some of his dives Sting has done, but still. So, Darby has Suicida. Luchasaurus interfered. He slammed Darby a couple times on the casket. Reckless Darby, he went for a coffin drop on the Swerve on the casket, but no avail. Swerve then tried to bury Sting in the casket with his baseball bat, which went to bite Swerve as Swerve took too much time and was not able to complete the job. Sting hit a Scorpion Death Drop on the Swerve on the casket. Darby then hit a Coffin Drop onto the casket on the Swerve and then knocked him in for the win. Darby and Sting got the win. Darby heads to next week, Chicago, to face Luchasaurus for the TNT title. Should be interesting match. And then what was interesting was the next match. Jericho vs. Ospreay. The entrances were going to make this match alone. Honestly, but then they over-delivered. So Chris Jericho and Fozzy played them to the ring. And the Ospreay, in front of his crowd, elevated, which we all wanted, in front of that crowd, just made for a beautiful scene. And yeah, arguably the best wrestler in the world. Yeah, that was fun. So, the expectations match started, and then ultimately it over-delivered. So, started with chops. Jericho had a springboard dropkick to the outside. Ospreay got the upper hand, hit a dive to the outside. Jericho hit a brutal German suplex to Ospreay on the apron, which I was worried because, like, Ospreay hit his head, but lucky he was okay. Jericho hit a Frankensteiner off the top for a near fall. Ospreay hit a shooting star off the top to Jericho's back while he's hanging off the top for a good spot. Ospreay, he went for a Oscutter. Jericho caught him in midair for like a backbreaker. Hit a codebreaker then for a near fall. Ospreay and Oscutter for 2. Great spot here. Ospreay went for the Stormbreaker. Jericho countered into a roll-up pin. Then was countered into a Lion Tamer. Sammy Guevara used Floyd the Bat behind the referee's back to knock out Ospreay. But Ospreay came to just in the nick of time and countered Lion Tamer. Jericho then off the ropes was hit with a Spanish Fly by Ospreay for 2. Jericho then went for an Oscar of his own for 2. And again, behind the referee's back, Jericho knew he was going to be the heel in this match because of hometown favorite of Ospreay. Jericho hit the low blow, followed with a juice effect, only for a near fall. Ospreay hit looked like a power bomb. Kind of miscommunication, but a power bomb into a back fist, followed with a Stormbreaker for 2. I saw people were complaining, oh, is that going to be a nice looking Stormbreaker on Jericho? Well, not one, but 2 beautiful looking ones. So there you go. So they won Stormbreaker and Jericho kicked out. That had me surprised, I will say. So then Ospreay then went for the hidden blade. Jericho asked for it on the chin. Flipped off Ospreay. Another Stormbreaker by Ospreay for the win. Ospreay gets a big victory in front of his hometown. Great stuff as an Englishman. And afterwards, Jericho is being consoled by Sammy Guevara in the ring. And he shoves off Sammy Guevara as he walks off. What's next? I don't know. Do we get a match out of this? See, the thing is, Jericho's trying to come in as a babyface. Now, well, because of the crowd, he was a heel. So again, I don't know. What we get next? Because Sammy Guevara only guy that stayed with them from the JS. So we got Nigel McGuinness. He was out there to address the crowd of A1036. Great feat. The most, per se, of any pro wrestling crowd in attendance. We'll obviously have to check, but, if that is the case, because we know WWE bloats their crowds, even though still they're huge. But, if this is correct, nonetheless, how many fans they had in attendance was great enough. So, great. House of Black versus the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. House of Black, great entrance. The lantern, the fireflies, honoring Bray Wyatt. That was good. That was very solid. But match was short, so yeah. So they went for one famouser, only got a near fall. They actually tried 3 famousers, only got 2. Malachi. This may be the spot I didn't really get. Malachi hit the end, the black mass on Billy Gunn. He kicked out. Really, Billy Gunn. So, the one for a mic drop on Brody King, he only kicked out at the 1. Then they tried again on Brody King. Famouser, Arrival, mic drop. They got the win. Afterwards, Malachi and the House Black handed over their AEW Tag Team titles. And they celebrated. Mercedes is a fan of the Acclaimed. She held the scissors up as well. Supporter for Mercedes. I mean, I already said enough about the title change, so yeah. See where it goes from here. I mean, honestly, all three of the house are great enough to be on their own. I mean, maybe there's a token title reign with what they have coming up. House Black went right back. We'll see. Because, I mean, it really started to hit me when Tony Khan said, well, Wrestle Freedom. And it happened on the media scrum, so we'll see. Excuse me. Main event. Adam Cole and MJF. Or versus MJF for the AEW World Championship. Now you were a bit worried how the crowd was going to react to him a second time. They really treated these two right. I mean, now I didn't see the full pre-show or 0 hour, but this is good. This is fun. Real fun main event. And had me on because he thought someone was going to turn, and that was not the case. Maybe with the events dragging on the next couple of weeks, maybe they drag on to then. I don't know. But yeah, this is good. So, Cole hit Heat Seeker for 2. Then hit Brainbuster on MJF on the steps on the outside. That was the first spot I thought, oh, Adam Cole is going to turn on MJF, and then we're going to get maybe the Kingdom. So then he hit a tombstone on the apron when MJF looked conflicted. Then coincidentally, they hit a clothesline or a double clothesline. Both knocked down, both cover each other. It's counted as a draw. So then, similarly to the World Title Eliminator match, where Cole asked for 5 more minutes, he asked for it again. MJF was like, no. We're going until we have a winner in Wembley. So, one more time, said Tony Khan, add more, approved of it. There we go. They exchanged some pins, but all kicked out. MJF hit a Heat Seeker for 2. Cole hit a straight jacket. German on the apron. Followed with the Panama Sunrise on the floor. 4-2. Cole then went for another Panama Sunrise, but MJF moved the ref, and Cole hit the ref with Panama Sunrise, Rensburg. So then Cole didn't know what to do. So MJF wanted to use the Dynamite Diamond Ring, but looked conflicted. So ultimately, he put it back in his shorts, and out comes Roderick Strong, who gives MJF a low blow. Adam Cole is confused. So then Cole picks Bones, hits a Panama Sunrise, followed a boom to the back of the head, but only for a 2 count. So then Roddy gives Cole the title. Smack MJF in the back of the head. Looks like he's going to do it, but he doesn't. So M. Cole throws away, tells Roddy to get out of there. And he goes to follow up on MJF. MJF covers with a cradle. 1, 2, 3, and MJF retains. And because Adam Cole didn't feed into the anger, he lost. Afterwards, MJF wanted to celebrate, say he got lucky, looked at the title, and called him a selfish piece of shit. Offered Cole to him in the back of the head with the title. Cole did not. They hugged it out and showed respect as Allin goes off the air or finishes. So yeah, how are they gonna end it? I mean, how? Maybe Dynamite? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, we were expecting something. One of these 2 matches, nothing happened. I mean, when Roddy hit the low blow, I was like, for sure. And then Adam Cole hit the boom. Thought that was it. But it's like, not the Kingdom. The Kingdom's not out. So it's like, I don't know. But I guess we'll have to see. We'll just have to see. But overall, All In was a success. And they announced that they're going to be returning next year for All In 3. Next year in Wembley, August 25th, 2024. So, get to booking early, people. Because, well, I'm willing to bet that, okay, this was about getting everybody on the show as much as possible. Now, hopefully next year, hopefully Hater's healthy, hopefully Brian's healthy, Pac. There's a few top guns really hurt, and that kind of sucked. Plus the booking. But, yeah. I mean, next year, but as far as this year, it was fun. I'm glad to say. Um, but that is a review for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, leave a like, leave a thumbs up. How about the video? How about the channel? But thank you all. I made Joe Tune Up. I see you guys on Thursday for Dynamite. But thank you guys all. Be safe. Peace.